Hold on to your seats, business trailblazers. Welcome to Power Your Profit podcast, where we're about to crank things up with an episode filled with ambition, adventure, and a whole lot of business savvy. Today, we're thrilled to introduce a man who does it all, Tony Dorso, the dream business maker, the mastermind behind the Tony Dorso Show. Tony isn't just a top tier podcaster with two mega hit talk shows. First, Revenue Chat Radio. It hit over 1 million downloads in 2 years. He raised 3.25 million in 6 months for a startup, proving he knows how to turn dreams into cash. But wait, there's more. Tony recently shocked the world by taking a detour into fiction. His latest novel, Iman of Atlantis, Bitten, shot to #1 across multiple countries. Set in a mystical version of Earth's core, the fantasy adventure combines mythical beings with greed, power, and intrigue. Critics are raving. The Tolkien Times compared it to the Tolkien with a harrowing chase and plots full of twists. Tony's not just a best-selling author and successful podcaster. He's the creator of the Vision Map, which we'll talk about today, a transformative tool to help you turn your wildest dreams and ambitions into reality. In this episode, we'll deep dive Tony's journey from best-selling books to business success and uncover how he transforms visions into empires. Ready to unlock your potential? This is going to be good. Hang on to your seats, get your notepads out. You're ready to take Tony's journey.
Welcome to Power Your Profits podcast, your friendly guide in bringing your business revenue to the next level. Listen as host Dr. Susie Carter hears inspiring stories of success from her fellow entrepreneurs and transformational leaders. Prepare to make significant change to your strategies as they unravel the secrets of building multi-million-dollar businesses and the most effective tips on finance, marketing, and sales accountability. If you want to take your first steps towards explosive business growth, this podcast is for you. Without further ado, here is your host, Dr. Susie.
Thank you so much. There are 8 steps that I've learned when I started podcasting. 8 steps to make your dream a reality. I used to call myself the business dream maker, and I think I'm going to put this all together because not going into why I went into podcasting, but when I did, I didn't know anything about it. And I've never been on radio, Susie. I didn't know any elite entrepreneurs. Surely didn't know any millionaires or billionaires that I interview today. I was a zero. I had no audience. I was just starting to grow my social media. What was I thinking? I went into podcasting. But I remember from my university days learning about vision and mission statement, and I put it all together in 8 steps, and I call that the Vision Map. Perhaps by the time this podcast comes out, the book will be out. There's a book I'm writing on the Vision Map. There's 8 steps. And I worked out. It's sort of like, let me give you an example, Susie. Everybody here listening in the audience, you know these words. There's not one person that doesn't know these words. Salt, sugar, cream, eggs, chocolate, vanilla. You know these words.
Yes.
But I challenge you. I challenge every single one. Go into your kitchen and bake me the best chocolate souffle I've ever had in my life. It's not going to happen because you know the words, but to put it together is a whole different thing. Well, in my vision map, I start with the vision, which everybody will tell you is backwards, but I will explain why, and it'll make perfect sense why the order is very workable to achieve a great success. The first step is your vision. What do you see yourself doing? And a vision means just that, Susie. It's vision. You're looking into the future. You're like being a child again. Remember, as a child,
Yeah.
you had imaginary friends, you had imaginary tools and imaginary toys or whatever, and you had fun. Well, just like that, you dream.
I was a rock star, Tony. I was a rock star. I would sing on my top of my doghouse at the top of my lungs.
Well, see, it's exactly so. Rekindle that child in you,
Mm-hmm.
and you look into the future, or actually, let me put it better. you travel into the future, you turn around and you look at the past and you go, okay, I'm going to start this new thing called podcasting or a podcast on orchids or doing music or whatever it is. I'm going to do that. What is it that I see myself doing? And I know everybody's going to say this is backwards. I get it, but it's not. So I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, I'm interviewing millionaires and billionaires, though I don't know any. I've got millions of downloads, though I'm not getting even one, all these things. What do you see yourself doing? That's your vision. And the second step is probably the most important step that everyone will say they have, but few are the people that use it. Let me explain this. The second step, and I'll just go over that,
Yeah.
is your purpose. But again, just like making that chocolate souffle, what is purpose? So here's a great analogy. It's not a real example. In other words, it's not perfectly what I'm going to tell you, but the analogy is the best I can think of. Purpose is like the gasoline in your car, your vehicle, your truck, your Jeep, your whatever, your boat. It's that gasoline, it's that diesel, it's that fuel. And guess what? It doesn't do anything by itself. It doesn't. Your
Right.
car doesn't go down the freeway. It doesn't go take you to the store or take you on a vacation or take you up in the sky. It doesn't do anything. You have to use it. So that purpose, that's why I have its second point. That's who are you? Who are you being? And you have to work that out. And by the way, the vision is one sentence, and it can take you weeks to put that together. And I can tell you some of the success stories my students have had with this. The purpose is the same thing. One sentence. Who are you? And it's that utilization, that engagement of your purpose that will take you, speeding down the highway very, very fast and utilizing it. So when you utilize your purpose and and travel in your vehicle, you can actually achieve your vision. And I was called myself the business dream maker. And utilizing just that, I took people in fields I had no idea and made them rock stars. I'll give you just one example. I had a student, he was selling 5 health type products on Amazon a month, 5 a month. Okay, 5 a month. Okay. In the second month of my just showing him the vision map and how to use it, in the second month, not after 2 months, but in the second month, Susie, he was selling 12 products.
That's awesome.
So
That's exponential growth.
it was a very delicious chocolate souffle. And when you know how to make it, people love it.
Yes. Okay, step number 3. So we have vision, we have purpose.
The next step, because there's 8 steps, the next step is what I call, and I still won't change the name. I call it the long-term objective. And here again, just about everybody in the world is going to argue on that when I start telling you what it is. And it's like, what are you going to accomplish? And everyone in the world's going to, oh, I know that. That's your goal. No, it's not, sir. No, it's not, ma'am. Because a goal is something you can do in an hour, a day, a week, a month, a quarter, a semester, or whatever. No, a goal is also a ball and a net. So it gets very confusing. So I call it your objective. But I say it as a long-term objective to better define it, but not like the old days. The old days, Susie, companies had what, 10, 15, 20-year plans. Can you
Right.
imagine that? Can you imagine, guys, today? Back then, we had plans. What are we going to do in 15 years to take some market share of the world? Like, it makes no sense today. But
Right.
that was how their objectives were back then. So I call it an objective, and it's doable in about a year or less. I accomplished mine. Now I'm talking 8 years ago. I accomplished mine in the first 2 years. Today, with the technology we have, probably more like could be 6 months or so, but I still say give yourself a year or two. What are you going to accomplish? And this is like everything you can dream of back in that vision dream, you're
Right.
accomplishing, and it doesn't take that long. And when you when and the accomplishment, the long term is something you have in your hand. Like I have a book. This is I accomplished this. I wrote the book with my co-author. We put this together. We had the vision, we had the purpose. We poured it on the gasoline, and we came out with the book, which became number one in multiple countries. That's a separate story. But that's because we employed these steps to actually get something, to get some traction. When you put it all together, it works really beautifully.
Yes, delicious. Okay, number 4.
Oh, you want me to take you down through the whole vision map?
Yes, it's so
Well,
juicy.
well, oh, okay. Only for you.
We're just
Step
giving teasers because it's simple to say and then to implement is a whole nother deal, right? I think people
it,
get caught in the point, oh, I have vision, oh, I have long-term objectives. Yeah, but are you doing anything with them? Right? Are you mapping it out? Or are you just talking about it? I'll ask people, where's your business plan? Oh, it's in my head. No, that's not a business plan.
I'm glad you said those words, business plan, because this can be part of it, and also a mission statement. You, I see too many companies, and actually most companies fail, Susie. It's not a fact. Most companies fail. There's different statistics between 50% to 80% or 75%, literally fail. Now you can, and I'm going to answer your question, but it's like saying, I will tell you right now that if I go to 100 people and I say, here's $1 million, build me your dream, 99 of the 100 people will probably take that $1 million and won't make their dream. Because just having the money doesn't do anything by itself. It's like that gas in the car. It you think it will, but too many businesses have failed and they were given money. So step 4 is your strategy. As I had just mentioned, companies used to spend years and years. The strategy was years and years. So strategy really is that, how are you going to bring your product to market? How are you going to get it out there? If you take the military sense, which I'll use a little bit, it's sort of like, well, we've determined that to better secure our nation, if we had a military control of this particular seaway, we would be in better chance of protecting ourselves. That's a strategy. Let's go take that island because that island is in the middle of the seaway, and that helps protect our land. That's a strategy. It's like, what are you going to do to further the goals, the vision, and better accomplish that purpose of your plan? So that is, a strategy is needed, and in a strategy, Susie, which, by the way, this is step 4, is the master plan. You need a master plan of how you're going to accomplish your vision, engage your purpose to achieve your objective. So you need a master plan. These aren't words. These are words, but they're not just words. I took
Right.
someone, I took someone who hadn't podcasted before, and by understanding these words, he went to millions of downloads. So this is the real deal. So you work out your strategy, and as part of that, we're at like step 5 now.
Yep.
Strategy. You work out your uh, now you're working out your tactical. Tactical is the actual steps. Okay, strategy says we should take this island because it's in a very important sea corridor for us to better protect our nation. Okay, I'm just using a military sense. Tactical is, how are we going to take that island? How are we going to control it? What do we have to do? What are the steps? 1, 2, 3, 4. What are these steps? So you need that tactical plan. But there's more. I'm going to break this down a little bit more. So there's your tactical steps. Uh, that is step 6. If I
Yep.
figured it all
We're on
out
step.
right, that's
You
step
did
6.
tactical, and now we're on 6.
Okay. So now the next step, which I call, is the 30, 60, 90.
Yep.
All right. So I know my vision. I know what I want to accomplish. I want to be that rock star, or I want to be that podcaster. I know what I want to accomplish. I've got my strategy, how I'm going to break into the industry. I've got my tactical if I do some things, but frankly, the reason I say 30, 60, 90 is these are days. What are you going to accomplish literally in a short period of time that's going to bring in your funds, your money, your income, your whatever, give you just off the top of my hat. I'm not wearing a hat, but off the top of my head, I am wearing a head. Example, I'm Italian, I get silly. If I want to get known as and do some really nice masterminds. Now, this doesn't necessarily apply today, though it could. Well, if I got together 10 people, 15 people, 20 people on a special 1 week cruise with me, and they all had to pay $10,000 to $20,000 for that as a mastermind week on a cruise, I could make some serious money, and I could do that within 2-3 months. So
Right.
so whatever it is you're doing, how are you going to bring that income in to help you continue it? Because right now, whatever it is you're doing, you want to be that rock star. The odds are nobody's paying you to do it. Nobody's knocking on my door saying, "Hey, Tony, we know you never podcasted before ever in your life. You've never been on radio. You don't know anybody famous. You're a complete nobody. But hey, here's some money. Go create a good podcast." It doesn't happen. Go create a good podcast. So
No, it doesn't. I can definitely testify that.
wait,
There's
wait, was that
no,
a
it doesn't.
no knock on the door? Wait, wait, was that somebody at the door? No, not yet. Still waiting. Doesn't happen. So we have to go out and get it. So this is very important to make that is that what income am I going to bring in? Because too many people, and I've seen them, I know, have this
Right.
whole beautiful plan, have this mission statement. And by the way, I did say I was going to say something about the mission statement. The mission statement is great by itself, it doesn't have legs, it doesn't do anything. And it's a kind of a concatenation of your vision and your purpose. That's why I separate it out, and I don't say the words mission statement except in explaining it. Too many companies have failed, and they'll go, well, yeah, we got $25 million, and we got this great mission statement, and the company failed. Yeah, I understand exactly why, because it's got to be broken out. So you companies that have your 25 or $50 million to get something go to your next level, take that mission statement, make it into your vision and your purpose and your objective, and you will find you get a lot more going. All
Yeah,
right.
it
So
can't be that piece of paper on the wall. Like people go, "Oh, I have a mission statement, but when was the last time you looked at it? When was the last time? Can any of your team tell me the elements of it? Maybe they don't know it by heart, but what are the elements of it? Right? Are they using it like we use ours on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to guide who we are? It gets me out of my humanity, like my pissiness, my pistivity, my crankiness, whatever it is, to go, oh, yeah, that's who I am. And so I
yes,
think so many times we put these things together as an exercise, but we're not really living what we say. So therefore, as you're saying, gets lost in the shuffle. Nobody even knows why we're doing what we're doing.
it may as well be the additive, the ethanol additive. I'm just making this up. That's in your gas tank with your purpose.
Right.
And it's in a vehicle you never use, and it's never going anywhere, and it's never accomplishing anything, but it's there.
Right. So
Eh,
is that number seven, Tony, the mission statement?
the the
Or
the the mission statement was part of the explanation. It has nothing to the mission statement has nothing to do with the vision map.
okay, got it.
The vision map takes you to where you want to go. And just a little digression, a map, MAP, folks, MAP, a real map. It's sort of like you're all gonna say you know this, and it sounds silly, but I have to say it, so forgive me. You're gonna say, family, let's go. We're going on a vacation for 2 weeks. Yay. All right. Everybody hop in the car. Okay, great. Where are we going? Um, let's go to Mount Rushmore. Great. Let's go. Where is it? I don't know. Let's try this street. Let's try this street. Let's try this. Everyone's going to say, Tony, of course you need a map. And Tony's going to rebut and say, yes, that's where you can go to your Mount Rushmore to your success. You can accomplish that vision because you have a map. That's why the vision map is so important. All right.
Yeah.
So now that kind of better explains that. So now
Yeah.
you've got your 30, 60, 90, and your tactical plan that you worked out. which is
Yeah.
at these broad steps. We're going to go over there and take that island, step 1, step 2, step 3. But these are long-term steps. So now you got to break it into the itty bitties a little bit more of where are you going to get finance from this? Okay, I want to take that island. How am I going to make money in the next little while that's going to fund our takeover or control of that sea corridor? How are we going to bring in that income for real? All right, the clock is ticking. Figure that out. You got 30, 60, 90 days. Because give an example in the world of podcasting, Susie, as you know, there's search today, search tomorrow. There's 2-3 million podcasters.
Yeah.
But folks, they're not successful. Most have failed. Everybody, go look up in your dictionary, fade, F-A-D-E. Most podcasters fail 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 shows, and they're gone. I've met many. They've podcasted, they're gone. Uh, these are like war veterans. They'll go, oh yeah, I used to podcast. You'll run into them.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. Oh, I used to podcast and I do something different now. The vision map will change the whole thing around. So
Well, and I want to just, speak to that. You got 45 million downloads, right? That's ginormous. So when we're talking about this, Tony's speaking from experience. It's not when we say podcasting, because there are so many people that have one, but they're not leveraging, using it, monetizing it. So I think it's important to understand the credibility that you bring. Just you're throwing these flippant things, but there's a wealth of success behind that statement.
thank you, Susie. It's sort of like these words, but go bake me an award-winning chocolate cake.
Right, exactly.
But I know the words.
Okay, so number 7 is financing and funding.
So number 8, and I could have the numbers,
Okay.
excuse me, there's only 8 steps. Number 7 is the 30, 60, 90. What that means is
I had number 6, the 30, 60, 90. I had vision, purpose, long-term objective, strategy,
master plan,
tactical,
then strategy, and then tactical.
and then
Vision,
30, 60,
purpose.
90.
Okay, I'm going to use my fingers. Vision, purpose.
We'll get it, you guys. You can
Believe me,
make a
there's
lot of
8
money and
steps.
not be able to count your strategies, but that's okay. Okay, so then I think I forgot
Number 7 is 30, 60, 90.
okay, and number 8.
Number 8 is now you take all those things that your tactical steps, your 1,
Yep.
2, 3, whatever, and your steps to monetize and create income. And we can go into any of these steps in detail. They're deep dives.
Yes.
Deep dives. Is what are you going to do today that's an actionable, engageable that you can cross off? Like I posted a social media post about my book today. Cross it off. What are you going to accomplish today? Now, the beauty of this is so simple that in my days, most people failed at. And that's your things to do. I call it a things to do list.
You're listening to another episode of Power Your Profits podcast. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors. Are you tired of struggling to take your business to the next level? Power Your Profits is the game-changing book you've been waiting for. Dr. Susie Carter, creator of the Predictable Success Method, reveals her proven strategies for explosive growth. From daily operations to marketing systems, this comprehensive guide empowers you to achieve predictable revenue and profit growth. Don't miss out on this invaluable wisdom. Transform your business today. Find your copy at books.poweryourprofits.com. Are you tired of pouring resources into strategies that don't work? Say hello to Dr. Susie Carter, your future fractional COO. With Dr. Susie in your corner, your business can skyrocket to 7 figures and beyond. With a track record of creating thriving businesses, trust that you are in good hands. Head over to coo.poweryourprofits.com and let us put some magic into your business growth.
Let me explain, folks. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. Just I've seen some things that work and I've seen some things that don't. And I personally, in my day, tried all these computer programs, these things that tell you this is due and that's due and notification and all these things. I've tried many, and I'm not going to mention what applications to run my things to do list. And so many problems with it. I'm on, it comes up, it interferes with my computer screen, my real estate. Uh, it interferes with my projects. I can't see it when I need. If I'm not at my computer at my desk, it's not there. If there's a power failure or something wrong or rebooting the computer, I don't have access to it. There's all these reasons to not go electronic on it. I
Yeah.
use a piece of paper and a pen. I write down all my things to do, and I take enjoyment in every day going through and crossing them off. If you're on a
Me
plane,
too.
so many people haven't in my day. You're at a coffee place, you're on a train, you're in a car, but you're not driving, you're in a plane, you're wherever you are, you're sitting in your front couch or wherever. You've got that piece of paper there and you can write down all those things. And when you write them down, you don't cross it off until they're done. And I would take pride in doing that. And it becomes fun, and it detaches you a little bit from the computer and reattaches you, engages you with your vision, because it's all about your vision. It's like, you know, mine is about my podcasting and getting my show out and getting who's the next millionaire, billionaire to interview, blah, blah, blah. And nowhere on my papers, Susie, does it say, go buy a house.
Right.
Go to the store and go get some milk. It's all focused on my vision plan. Now, these simple few words took me not only a lot to study, Susie, but to just cap it all off, I created and put together my vision map before I started podcasting some 8 years ago. I I didn't know a thing, as I mentioned, about podcasting or anything. I was a nobody. I put the vision map together, and I want to say a month or two, 4, 5, 6 weeks. I have to think about it for a second, but let's just say a month or two. I did, I did the thing I don't recommend doing. I went live for an hour a week. I don't recommend that if you've never done it before, but what great experience. But basically, I had my vision map and I just kept at it. And boy, did I make mistakes. But everyone I learned. And yeah, here we are. By now, 15 million people have listened to my shows. I am very, very grateful. Very, very thankful for that. And it's by adherence to those steps that you keep it going.
And so what were the things that you did? Because I think we have a lot of listeners that are, doing podcasts with their brand or whatever they're doing. What are the things that you did? Because Revenue Chat Radio hit 1 million downloads in under 2 years, right?
Yes,
Which is bananas, right? What's the secret sauce between that? And it's part of it's the content, but part of it's all the 8 steps you're talking about.
yes, the 8 steps, Susie. And prior to podcasting, I had my own lead generation company. And prior to that, I was the vice president, sales and marketing of a big company. I say big. Big, close to 100 employees, probably is a big company, medium-sized company. And I learned a lot about marketing. And I learned that uh, no matter what changes, and things change today, Facebook,
Fast.
TikTok,
Yeah.
Twitter, LinkedIn. It's not even Twitter anymore. Gosh, it changed again. Now they're Xing themselves out, X. Um, so many changes, so many things. It's like, eh, you know, but the basics, Susie, are the basics. And no matter what happens, no matter what you do, you can't change the basics. So I just have to refigure. And let me tell you, I reinvent or refigure things out so many times every year because it's just things change. All of a
Yes.
sudden, I cannot post anymore on Twitter because I have to upgrade. I can't say what I want. All these things just keep changing, and you have to figure out what's the best change with them.
And so when you got to 45 million downloads, right? So what's the strategy or the tactic that you did that was the most impactful?
Many. One key one is when you is if you interview on podcasting and you have a guest,
Mhm.
to encourage that guest to tell their email list, their audience, their website people, their social media about the show. Some guests would do that, some guests won't. It's not something you can enforce. Just keep pushing it as you can and keep working that. But eventually, the guests who tell their list will then bring more listeners to me. And as long as you keep promoting your show and putting out a show, you'll you'll get you'll get growing people. It's rare for you to podcast and 5 years ago and no more now and grow an audience. It's very rare. I've seen somebody do it only because their topic became super hot again. But
Yes.
aside from that, most people it doesn't work. So you have to keep putting out good. I'll use the word honest, and not like you're baiting or tricking, or just really good, genuine information that really helps people. And this is the beauty of it, because I brought on successful people at the top of their category, like you. I've had you on my show, Susie, and I
Yeah.
call you an elite entrepreneur simply because you made it to the top of your category. Well, can you imagine, guys? Every week for 8 years, I am being mentored for an hour by a millionaire or a billionaire who is super successful. I have learned so much in my own shows and used that to grow my show. So, in other words, no matter what field you're in, whether you're making bricks, you're in construction, you're in accounting, you're a cashier, it doesn't matter what walk of life you're in, whether you're a career or you're a solo entrepreneur, whatever, listening to my shows, you've got successful people, elite entrepreneurs, pouring their heart out, telling you how they made it to success. Now, just think about that. That's powerful, and it really
Powerful.
works.
And fun, right? These interviews are probably one of my favorite things I do because it's just giving and serving and meeting delicious people who have done it, been there, done that, got the t-shirt trophy, and willing to share, the bloody elbows, the bloody knees, the lessons that we've learned. And they're pretty much consistent. You got to fail and you got to get back up. You got to be committed. You got to have a plan. You got to be tactical. You got to have a 30, 60, 90. You got to have your strategy. You got to know where your money's coming from. So,
I'm going to give you an inverse. I've
yes,
never said this before, or this is a Tony D'Urso new piece of information. This is an inverse. I'm going to explain this. In hundreds, hundreds, and hundreds of millionaires and billionaires and successful people, I've only ever interviewed one person who had everything handed to him. Okay, I'll tell you, it was a him that had everything handed to him his whole life. And that person isn't really considered successful today, but he's the only person ever. Every other person, including you had your struggles, your hurdles, your pitfalls. You had to work things out. You had to push. You had to persevere, and it's how you did it, and what you learned, and what you used that made you who you are. And that's the stuff that these elite entrepreneurs have. So just saying, oh, that's and so this is just going to shut it down. Where all my life I grow up hearing, oh, that person grew up because is doing well because he or she was rich. They grew up rich. Well, let me tell you, all the people I've met, only one person grew up like that in 8 years of hundreds and hundreds of interviews. So it's not the secret to success is being born rich. It's not something you can control either. In fact, I don't think it really worked for that person, because you try harder when you don't have it. Isn't that so?
it is like you have something to prove, something to gain, right? You want to make something out of yourself, a better life for yourself, your children, your children's children. That's part of the vision, right? Of what is my life going to look like? And we want to make it better for our kids than we had it, right? When I look at that. So, what's next for Mr. Tony? More books, more business, something even more unexpected? Give us a sneak peek of what you're cooking up.
Sneak peek. Well, I did tell you that I am putting together, it's mostly written, it just has to be gone through, my book on accomplishing your vision, actually taking your dream and turning that literally into a reality. I've had enough people do it. I know it works. It's worked for me. I'm going to put that out in a book. I do hope and intend it'll be on my vision map to get this out in probably the first or second quarter of 2025. Meanwhile, my book
Which
that
is
I
right around the corner. That's like next week.
that was last week.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to find out about it, go to my website, tonydurso.com. You're going to find everything there. You're going to find books, podcasting. You're going to find my podcast network. You're going to find all sorts of cool stuff, including my baby picture. Maybe, maybe
Ah,
I'll keep it there. Maybe I'll take it off. We'll see.
I think you should keep it there. That's always fun when you see people's pictures.
Well, it is true. Contrary to popular beliefs, I was born. This is true. I was a
And Tony
child.
might be even be in a boy band. You never know. You got to get the book and see. Maybe he was in a boy band.
But yes, and near and dear to my heart is this book, which has taken multiple countries by storm, is on the bestseller list, and this is a great book. The book cover is unusual because it's like the books hundreds and hundreds of years ago used to be. They didn't have pictures, and I've tried it, didn't work for me. They just had nice covers like this. This is gold, leather bound. It's a beautiful cover. Bitten is the first book because the nations involved, bitten for greed for gold and lust for power, made some more ruthless than ever. That's why it's bitten. And yes, so I've got book 2 by now. Book 2 is out. Book 3 is coming out. Book 2 is Ruthless. Book 3 is Pursuit. Ooh,
Ooh, those are
little
good names. You can tell you're
information.
a little marketer. I love it.
And there's 9 books, and they're going to come out every couple months.
I love it. And that
And
book, if you're
the
listening, it's the Eamon of Atlantis,
I'm in of Atlantis, and
Island of Atlantis.
the newspaper, the magazine for the entertainment capital of the world, Hollywood, they're called the Tolucan Times. They did
Yep.
a book review on it. They loved it. I mean, and they call it a unique world in the tradition of Tolkien. It was like caught me by surprise. I was like, wow, really? They
Yeah.
loved it, but I must give you a spoiler alert. Spoiler alert? I think I said that right.
Yes.
Folks, there are no rings and no dragons in this book.
Well, Tony, thank you. You drop more gems than I can count. And if you're taking notes, you want to hit rewind and listen to some juiciness, whether it's raising millions, slaying your podcast game, writing novels, right? Tony's living proof of big dreams. Just keep doing it, right?
May I drop the super fastest gem
Yes,
bomb
please.
profit ever to the audience? They have to listen all the way to the end to get this. Folks, I have discovered this, and I have not talked about this on any interview. This has been a Tony internal secret. I'm sharing it with you now. The number of social media followers that you have should be commensurate, should be equivalent to how many downloads you get on your podcast and the the level of income that you're making. Think about that. Think about that.
Interesting. I
Think
like
about
that
I'll
game.
tell you right now that my social media followers are in the mid 600s, low to mid 600s. So are my downloads. And I'm just going to say dot, dot, dot. So if you've got 10 or 20 or 30,000 or whatever you've got on your social media, keep growing it, keep growing it, keep growing it, and and connect your followers to what you do. And your income will grow, folks. It will. It's a Tony Durso special.
That is a Tony Dershel special. So thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you had as much value as I did on this episode. And if you're serious about growing your business and you're ready to step into your greatness, remember success isn't just about working harder. It's about working smarter and following the 8 steps that Tony was talking about. We're here to help you, whether it's introducing you to Tony, whether I would love for you to share this message. I know someone in your tribe, somebody in your community needs Tony. They need to hear this message. They need the simple steps and take radical action. So drop us a review, share your biggest takeaway from Tony's episode today, because that's important. And make sure that you connect with Tony on all his social media. You can find all his links and resources in our show notes. Until next time, keep moving forward, staying profitable, but more importantly, powering up your profits. See you on the next episode. I'm your host, Dr. Susie Carter, and my fabulous guest, Tony Durso. I appreciate you, and I appreciate the work you're doing in our world.
Thank you so much, Susie.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Power Your Profits podcast. Let these building blocks from today's most successful industry leaders equip you with the necessary resources and tools to finally establish the highly profitable business of your dreams. Want to hear more? Listen to more episodes at www.poweryourprofitspodcast.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the show. Now is your time to rise to the top of your game. So be sure to catch our next episode. Until next time.